Okay, this is the Renogy Solar 2000 watt pure sine inverter. In the box you get a little card, fancy stickers for your windows, and a manual. Looks like the manual's shared between their 700 to 3000 watt line. Nice feature here, you get the remote on and off switch, so you could mount the inverter somewhere far away and plug this in and control it somewhere else. They also include power cables appropriately sized for this particular inverter. You'll notice they're doubling up the wires here, so you still get a little bit of flexibility while having extra current carrying capacity. So that's nice that they provide those for you. Nicely boxed up. Alright, so that's how big it is. It comes with mounting flanges for permanent mounting. It also has your output here, so you can hardwire it into a system for hardwired output, along with three regular 110 volt plugs. And it has a little USB charging socket for charging one USB device. So you have on, off, and remote there, and the remote would plug into this thing here if you're using it. The lights here, you have a ground fault circuit interruption protection. You also have over and under voltage protection, probably short circuit protection, that type of stuff. Two fans, they say temperature controlled, little ground connector, and then the plus and minus 12 volt connectors on the back. Now I plan on hooking this up to my Nissan Leaf's 12 volt accessory system, the 12 volt battery. And the Leaf has a DC to DC converter that'll produce at least 1000 watts from the traction pack to refill the 12 volt accessory battery. Now this, you might notice, is a 2000 watt inverter. I decided to go with 2000 watts because that means I can plug anything that would normally plug into a 15 amp outlet into it. Specifically, my highest load is going to be an 1800 watt large home kitchen microwave that I want to be able to run intermittently. So I'm never planning on taking more than about 500 to 1000 watts continuous out of the system, just because that's kind of the limit on the Nissan Leaf. But with the Leaf's 12 volt battery backing me up, I can, hit something in the microwave for a couple of minutes at 1800 watts. I sold my electric pickup truck, but I kept all these battery banks from them. Now these are lithium ion, and at kind of a storage voltage, they're still at 16 volts. I chose the Renogy unit because its maximum high voltage is 16, and it says the high voltage cutoff is 16.5, so I'm hopeful it'll be able to work with these guys in a pinch if I need to pull these out of storage and generate some power off of them. But my intended use will be for that 12 volt battery in the Nissan Leaf. Many of the competing models were kind of in the 15 to 15.5 volt range. So the provided screws look like a number 3 Phillips, so that's the big Phillips, and they also have a bit of a hex head on it, although I don't know, it's rounded, so I wouldn't really want to put a wrench on that thing. So I think you're going to need a big Phillips screwdriver, and of course a wrench on the other end. It looks like, yep, they're threaded, so there's actual threads in here, it feels like, which is a little weird, I think, because you'd want the bolt on the bottom to be providing most of that pull, not the threading in the pad, but that's what they've done. So they have a washer and a lock washer. You want to be sure to put this on your wire before you attach the wire, and it does fit on the provided wire, so that's good. It's embarrassing when it doesn't fit with the provided materials. Put the lock washer on top here and put this whole thing through. And yeah, it is definitely threaded into that tab sticking out. Now I would definitely not use only that threading on the tab. I think you definitely want to put this nut on the bottom, and you're going to have to use something here to tighten it, because with the threading on the tab, that's a little bit weird. I might actually drill that out myself later on, but whatever. Make sure this thing fits. This does have to be coming straight out, not in an angle, so it has to be tightened down straight. And it is polarized, so you can see this tab here is smaller than that tab there, so the plus sign stays on top. If I were doing this, I would have made it the same and put a plus sign on both sides, but at least then keep the plus sign on the top. Alright, so we have turned on, you have off in the middle, and you have flip to the remote. So when you're connecting it to power, you want it either set to off, or if you have it flipped to remote, you want to have the remote plugged in and the remote set to off. Now when you first connect one of these guys to power, you're going to get some inrush current. And because there's capacitors in here that's going to be charging from the battery, and the capacitors will draw as much power as the battery can provide. If you just had a 12-volt battery, you could probably just, kind of grit your teeth and touch the thing down, you'd have a spark and then it'd be done. But with the lithium-ion battery, that guy can put out a lot of amps. And so I do not want to do a giant, large amount of inrush current from that battery when I'm connecting it. So I'm going to use a pre-charge resistor, which is basically, I'm going to connect a small resistor in first to let the voltage in the capacitors go through this resistor at a very slow rate until it raises up. Once the voltage in the capacitors is near the voltage in the battery, then I can just touch it and it won't have a big inrush of current. So this particular one is a 1.2 k ohm resistor, which is actually a pretty decent number of Ks for this thing. It might take a while to pre-charge. If it takes too long, I'll move down a little bit. Okay, I have the voltmeter set up to measure the voltage on the Renogy unit. And I have a wire going to the input there. It's a pretty small wire, so you have to be a little careful about that. And then the resistor, and the other end of this resistor, which I can connect to the battery. So when I connect this to the battery, if the resistor is too small, the resistor will get hot and burn up, or these wires will get hot and burn up. So we want to watch out, make sure that doesn't happen. If the resistor is too big, the voltage will take way too long to increase. So let's put this sucker on. Alright, you can see the voltage is going up. We're up to almost 1 volt now. So I think this is a good resistor for a 16 volt circuit. It takes a while. You could get a smaller resistor and go faster, but this one here is going to get the job done in a reasonable amount of time. We're already up to 5 volts, so maybe longer than you'd like to wait, but a pretty safe amount of current going in to raise the voltage up. Now the real question is, how much does the Renogy unit bleed off, and how fast does it bleed when you let go of this? So when I disconnect this thing, you can see it starts going back down very slowly. Maybe it's maybe not even bleeding much at all. So it looks like we're going to have plenty of time after we get this up close to 16 volts to hook this sucker up to the battery without it bleeding back down. Personally, I think I would have liked a slightly bigger bleed resistor in the Renogy unit. It's possible they don't even have a bleed resistor in there, we'll see. But it's kind of nice to have the capacitors drain back down below 12 volts if it's disconnected and not used. Of course, with a bleed resistor, it does slowly drain your battery down, so there is that trade-off. Alright, so we're up to 10 volts, and because we're charging a capacitor, this is starting to get slower and slower because the capacitors will take less current the higher their voltage is. So at this point I'm probably going to switch to a little more lower resistance resistor. Alright, not even warm. So this particular resistor was a 1.2 kilo ohm. I'm going to make a big change. This is a 0.8 ohm resistor, and I didn't want to start this at 16 volts, but that's 11 volts. This guy over here is going to be 16 volts, so that's only about a 7 volt or 5 volt difference. So I'm pretty sure that won't be too bad, but let's see what happens here. Alright, so you can see how that went up very quickly. So we're up to like 15.2 volts. It's never going to reach the full 16 volts of the battery just because there's a resistor in the circuit. So at this point we can simply take this guy here. We don't need the resistor connected up to it anymore. Touch it on, there's no spark, and then we can bolt it in. And so that's how you would pre-charge the capacitors in the Renogy or any inverter, so you don't have a spark when you touch. A lot of people just spark it. Okay, I was able to get it to turn on by plugging in my load of choice here, my heater, and that draws the battery voltage down to 15.7, and this guy's no longer complaining about an overvoltage condition. So it does look like you have to be below 16 volts for this guy to work properly. Now I have this heater at full strength, but I'm going to put a meter in between there to see how much power it's taking out, probably about 1,000 watts. Alright, I'm running a resistive heater. It's taking almost 1,300 watts. Battery voltage is 15.65, and we're doing that's equivalent to 11.67 amps, and it's generating 110.3 volts, so not quite 120 volts, but within acceptable ranges. I'm going to turn the heater down to half power. So now the heater is taking 800, almost 769, 778 watts, 780 watts, so about 800 watts, 7.5 amps. And the voltage here has actually dropped a little bit to 105, so it looks like maybe it increases the voltage as the power requirement is going up. Alright, so let me hook the microwave up to this sucker. Okay, I have the microwave running out of this thing. My meter's beeping because I'm going a little more than the meter likes. It's 108 volts, power factor 0.96, 60 kilohertz or 60 hertz, and it's drawing 1675 volt amps or 1602 watts. So, it's able to drive 1600 watts without any real problem. The only thing beeping here is my meter, because my meter doesn't like the fact that I'm drawing that much power. And in case you wanted to know how well lithium batteries hold up to that, I'm at 15.56 volts on the battery, so not a lot of sag on those Nissan Leaf modules, even drawing 1.5 kilowatts out of it. I'm going to turn this sucker off just because my kilowatt meter really isn't supposed to go at above 15 amps. So basically this is able to drive a 15 amp appliance with no problems. Alright, next an inductive load such as a motor. I have here a vacuum, and we're going to start the vacuum with it. So once the vacuum is running, it only takes about 700 watts. So, 700 watts is no big deal here, but it's that startup surge when you start the motor that we were testing. And as you can see, my meter's a little slow keeping up with the average. But since we have about a 7 to 8 amp draw when it's running continuously, the startup is probably 3 or 4 times that. So this Renogy is definitely able to surge and start up a motor. Alright, so all in all, I'm quite happy with this guy. It does what it says it's going to do. Only annoyance for me, because I have these lithium batteries in my garage, is that it does warn you, hey, you're above 15.5 volts. There's this beeping going on to let you know about that. But it is able to operate at up to 16 volts. And if you have a load on it that would draw that battery down just a little bit, the beeping would go away. And since I'm going to be using this on a 12 volt battery anyways for the most part, and the lithium batteries are just a backup, I think that'll be just fine for me. Now the one thing to keep in mind is after you've disconnected this from your battery, the capacitors in there still have some charge. So you can see the capacitors inside are at 15.7 volts right now. and 0.76 now. And it doesn't look like there's much of a discharge resistor built into the Renogy. If there is, it's a pretty small one. It's going to take a long time to get those down. So you wouldn't want to touch this to a ground connection right after you disconnect it from your battery, because it will spark and all the power from those capacitors will go out through this. So again here, I think the proper procedure is to use resistor to discharge this. And so basically I'm just putting a resistor between the positive and negative leads. And when I do that, you can see that the voltage goes down almost immediately to 0, because this particular resistor was a pretty low ohm. This is a 0.8 ohm resistor. Now the capacitors don't have anywhere near as much power as the battery, so I'm not too worried about the resistor heating up too much. But it might not be a bad thing to discharge it with the resistor when you're putting it away for storage.